Hey, it's me, MLB. Here is BNHA 2nd Gen, Chapter 2, titled Explosion! Come on, Chi, Jinsei whispered, crossing her fingers as she leaned forward with interest. Both friends watched as Chi took to the stage at one end of the dueling platform, and Bakeji took to the other, the latter sporting jagged grey-blue hair and clear green eyes. Jinsei saw Chi shout something to his opponent, but couldn't hear it or see it well enough to read his lips. Trust Chi to waste energy on yelling, Soshi scoffed. Shh! He's nervous, look at his hands, Jinsei whispered as the cameraman zoomed in for a close-up of Chi, panning from his face down his body to his fingertips that were trembling uncontrollably. I thought he'd have this in the bag, Soshi thought as he took his arms from the back of Jinsei's chair and leaned forward as well, resting his forearms on his knees. I don't like that Chi and Ginny seem to have a closer relationship, but I do wish Chi well with his duel. I do actually want him to win. The bell sounded and Bakeji quickly clasped his hands together, then threw them out at Chi, a muddle of bent iron flying towards the carbon copy Bakugo. Chi waited till the last minute and then dove out of the way, doing a barrel roll before jumping up and squatting slightly, ready to move again should it be required. And Bakugo dodges Bakeji's first attempt, the announcer cried over the loudspeaker. Come on, Chi, Jinsei whispered urgently, fretting for her friend. Bakeji threw another cage, and then another, making Chi run and dodge them all. It appears that Bakugo's unwilling to use his quirk, the announcer called loudly. Shut the hell up! A loud voice called from the crowd, and the cameraman spun around and frantically zoomed in on the person who had shouted. Is that Chi's dad? Soshi asked. I think it is. Wait, Ginny, is that your... Dad! Ginny shouted with excitement at the TV. He came to watch me? Both Soshi and Ginny watched as Red Riot fought to hold a very irate Dynamite back, tugging on his friend's arm and trying to talk him out of jumping down onto the stage to help his son. Where's your dad, So? Ginny asked. Is he there too? It looks like a lot of heroes are in attendance. Yeah, he's probably in the back row or something, Soshi replied. Dad isn't much for the spotlight. Yeah, fair enough, Ginny replied with a shrug. Oh my god, I wonder if Condor is watching, she added with a nervous squeal. Oh, I will literally die if he's watching my match. Soshi scrunched his nose with jealousy and looked away slightly. Ginny had a celebrity crush on the dashing winged hero Hiyoko Takami. She would gush about him every opportunity that she got. Just then a loud cry of victory sounded and the cameraman swung the camera back around to focus on the match, showing a very scared, very caged-looking Chi. Oh no! Jinsei gasped, jumping up in her seat. Chi! Blast your way out! Go, go! She hollered at the screen. It looks like Chisuki Bakugou's been captured, the announcer screeched into the microphone. Can he escape? Bakeji cackled with crazed euphoria and pressed his fingers to his temples, concentrating on pushing the cage with his mind to get Chi out of bounds. No, no! Jinsei cried, clutching her hands to her head. Chi, get out! The cameraman zoomed in on Chi as he grabbed for the cage bars, rattling them furiously as he tried to break his way out. Use your quirk! Jinsei started to yell, suddenly halting mid-yell when she saw a large sweat drop slide down Chisuki's face. Oh shit, Soshi said lowly as he stood up beside Ginny and took her hand. He's gonna blow. He's gonna take the whole stadium out if he releases his quirk now. There was a tense silence as both Soshi and Ginny watched, spellbound. Bakeji pushed the cage closer and closer to the out-of-bounds line, and the stress levels in Jinsei rose. Suddenly there was an enormous explosion and the whole room shook violently. Quick as a flash, Soshi yanked Ginny into his embrace and created a diamond-enforced igloo over the top of them, using the strongest gem type to create a protective barrier over them should the room collapse. What happened? Jinsei gasped as she clung to Soshi. Did he explode? I think he did, Soshi said softly, listening to hear if anything was falling outside of the igloo. When he didn't hear anything, he shot an ice arrow through the diamond crust, exploding it into smaller diamonds that littered the floor and allowed him and Ginny to see the conclusion of the match. Where's Bakeji? Ginny asked as the cameraman swung the camera back and forth, trying to locate the two opponents. Chisuki Bakugou wins! The voice of Shinso called into the microphone. Bakugou proceeds to round 2. The cameraman finally located Bakeji, who was blown well out of bounds and was laying unconscious on the side of the arena, while the emergency team ran to his aid. He did it? He did it! Jinsei squealed excitedly, grabbing Soshi and shaking him. He's going to the next round! Soshi smiled to himself as the cameraman panned across to Chi, who was shaking and sweating profusely, his whole body overcharged with adrenaline as he raised a closed fist to the sky and grinned from ear to ear. The crowd exploded, cheering loudly for the young hero who had quite literally blown them away with his skills. He left the podium and casually strolled to the hall, making his way out the back to his waiting friends. Chee! Jinsei screamed as she bolted out of the door and tore down the hallway towards him, throwing herself into his arms. You did it! You did it! I knew you could do it! Piece of cake, Chi replied smugly. Yeah, looks it, Soshi commented snidely from the doorway of the waiting room. I'd like to see you do better, Chi snorted, looking over the top of Jinsei as she continued to hug him. Anyway, congrats, man, Soshi said. Glad you got out of that one. Thanks, Chi grunted, placing a hand on Jinsei's head and patting her a bit. Oi, she said sharply. Not the hair. Oh, sorry, he said quickly, as he pushed his hands up and held them both in surrender, making Soshi snort with amusement. Soshi Todoroki, you are next, a voice called from down the hallway. Please make your way to the stage. Me? Soshi said with surprise. But I thought I was on a bit later. There have been changes in the program, the organizer called. You're up now, versing Renji Kaminari. Oh, Chi sneered. This will be interesting. Soshi scowled slightly. Oh, come on, Soshi baby. Hopefully he does well. Stay with me for chapter 3 coming tomorrow.